Hello my friends, this is Shelly from Koala Knits and Knacks, and we are going to put just a little duplicate stitch embellishment on the top of our mitt. I've got one here that I did, it's the match, I started out when my intent for this pattern was to do 3 or 4 rows, and so and then offset them, and I did that, and I didn't like it as much, and so I thought, no, simple and less is more in this project. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your mitts on so that you know which is the back part of your mitts, because you're going to see a little place here where you tie it, and I want that to be on the back of your mitt, and I'll tell you why when we get to that point, why you tie it like that, and so that you have a flawless front to your mitt. So put your mitt on, both of them, so that you know which is your front and which is your back. So I'm going to check this one out. This is the back. So I'm going to take my yarn, which I already I cut, and for me I'm going to double the strand because I am using the Baby Delight. It's the only white yarn that I have in my house right now, Loops and Thread Baby Delight, and I did it with a 1 strand and I didn't like it at all, so I thought it was way too thin, so I'm doubling it. If you have regular weight yarn, just use 1 strand, and then cut off about enough that will wrap around 3 times or 4 times would be a good estimate. I'm going to start in the back of my mitt, and so on my other one I counted 7 points down. Okay, so you want to always choose a row where the wider part of the V is going up. That's the way I want my V's to face, so that the point of the V is facing down. You can do it the other way if you like, but for the embellishment, I like the wider part of my duplicate stitch to be going up. So I'm going to just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I'm going to go poke my needle in between the 2 layers and come up in that stitch. Okay, and so I'm actually going to move this over just a little bit. I'm going to put it more in the back here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right up in there, because this is where I'm going to tie it at the end. When I tie my other end to this end, I go up. I have that little loop in between, and I come up actually in this stitch right there, and then I tie a knot, and then I secure it. That way I've got that little gray bar in between the two, in between the stitch where I knotted, and then I'll hide both ends. And that's so that if I didn't do that and I just tied a knot here and hid it, then my stitches would start getting loose there. I need this to be tight and in place so that I don't have any slack on my V, because otherwise, like I said, it's going to start unraveling. Okay, so I came up through the 7th point down, because that's what I did in my last one. And then you see these 2 bars that are right above it, you go to the next. Now I do have a video on the duplicate stitch on my channel, so you can look that up, and I explain it in a little more detail, I think, but maybe not. This might just help you. But if ever you're doing another duplicate stitch and you need to see how it's done, just look at my video, okay? So I want to spread this across. I don't want, so if I wanted to do this neck, this is going to come down there, and then I could do this one here, but I want to leave this row out and spread it out a little bit more. So I'm going to go over to this row, making sure I go into the 7th point down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and I'm going to pull that through. And then again, I'm going to go miss this line there, and I'm going to go up to this one. Pull it through, and you don't want to pull tight. You just want it snug against your mitt, but you don't want it tight. And then flatten that out because it's easier to work with. Come across, I'm going to miss this one, and I'm going to go into the next one. And when you get around, very often you're going to be, it does happen where you think you're following the same line, but when you get to the end, you're mismatched. So then you follow it around till you see where you went off, and then you pull it back and you just redo it so that you stay on the same row. When you come around, you want to end on that same row. Okay, so I'm going to just keep going, flattening out my mitt as I go so that I can find the stitch a little bit more easily. And hopefully when we get around, we'll be on the same row. Now I do like this single row. I think it looks very nice, but as I'm doing it, I'm thinking next time, I think what a nice look would be is to just put these duplicate stitches here and there and everywhere, like no rhyme or reason. Put one here, put one here, put one there, and just stagger them all over. They'll look like little snowflakes maybe that have landed on the mitt. And then of course you're going to try to keep it the same on the other mitt, but when they're staggered like that, and it's like just like an abstract kind of a pattern, for lack of a better way of explaining it, then you don't have to worry quite so much. But I think that would look so cute, so nice. I think it'll be a very nice way to embellish a mitt. So I'm going to try that sometime too. If you do that, show us. Let us see. I'm sure that anybody who's watching this video is probably on some of the groups that we're all on, and if you are, then you know, when you make things, show it to the rest of us. We all like to be inspired by each other's work. So I keep flattening, coming around. See, this really doesn't take very long at all. So far, I think I'm on the right, I'm on the straight and narrow, but we're gonna find out real soon. Okay, let's see. So I'm going, let me see. Sometimes, you know what? You look and you look and you look, and then all of a sudden it just looks foreign to you. Looks like, where am I? And you get a little confused, but then you just kind of eyeball a little bit. Yep, see, like right there, I went too low. I'm gonna go there. And I'm going to go up here. Sometimes it's easier to follow the top row across with your eye, and then you'll know that then you got to miss this bar and go to the next one. And sometimes it's easier to line it up that way than to be looking for the point. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to do one. Well, that didn't work out, did it? Let's just see here. I was going to edit this out and just redo it, but then I thought, no, you know what? There's a good chance you're going to have the same problem. So if I was to finish this, like I noticed it right away. I'm going to be, I don't have I'm half a row short here. Like I'm going to grab my other mitt, and I shut off the camera so that I could see what was going on here. And it's because when I joined my side together here, I had to give this a half a row turn so that when I did the seam here, it was a flawless seam. And in doing so, I'm missing 1/2 a row. And because I started this particular pattern on the like I brought the yarn up through the back, but I started the pattern on the side here. So then there are 3 bars, so you can count them. 1, 2, 3. In the middle, I'll show you again in case that was off camera. 1, 2, 3. In the middle of those 2 rows, which are on the side of the mitt, so you don't see that. And I didn't do that with this mitt. I started right at the very back. I should have fed my yarn up from here and gone to the side so that I could work it out that way, and then end at the side there so that you didn't see it if you were off a little bit. But that's okay. I'm going to go into there, and I'm going to. You never make generally you don't make a duplicate stitch on a pattern that's upside down like this. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyways, but I'm going to go up instead of going here because it's going to be lower. I'm going to miss this set of bars, and go up to this one. Then it's like I'm going to fool the eye and make it look like it's a duplicate stitch. Make it look like it's on the right row. So you won't even tell that. But it's just a little trick that only you and I know. And then I'm going to go back down through there, and I'm going to come up. Oh, lost it again. That's what happens when you're working with this fine yarn. It comes out of your little needle so easily. Okay, so I'm going to go down in my stitch like I normally would. And of course, this one again is it's the wrong direction, but only you and I know that. And I'm going to go through there like that. And I've got my stitch lined up. Okay, and so then what I do, when I was telling you that I've got a bar in between these 2 strands of yarn, so I'm going to give this a tie, but I'm not going to pull it really tight. I want to snug it up, but I'm not going to pull it so tight that it stretches those stitches there and makes them all wonky. Oops, see, just like it did there. It's very, very easy to do. Little too much pressure, and you wreck that stitch. But this is why you need to put the bar around it, because otherwise that just shows you that if I would have just tied a knot here and hit it, this first stitch that we did, these bars are going to start getting loose. Okay, this is at the back of the mitt. No one's going to know that there's only one bar in between there rather than two. And again, that was because when I sewed my sides together, I made sure that my bars were lining up accurately. And you can go look at the pattern where I made the mitt and you'll see what I'm talking about. And if that happens to you and you're not sure why, just do what I just did, and you will hide it. Now I'm going to hide that in there, and then I'm going to take this next one, and I'm going to do the same. That's the joy of hand knit products. You just figure it out and make it work, and still, like, you don't want to make it work in a sloppy way, but you want to figure it out in a way that makes sense and that makes your product still look professional. Okay, so then I just poke around in there, bring up these two bars, and you're going to see a little bit of white there, a little white fleck, but it just looks like a little white fleck, and that's okay. It's not hurting. That's the back of the mitt. This is the front. I've got the other front one right there. And we've got our beautiful embellished duplicate stitch on our mitts. I hope that you enjoy this tutorial. Again, that's how you do the stitch. Now use your imagination and make whatever pattern you want on there. Again, like I said, next time I do one, I want to do it so that I just scatter them here and there and everywhere, and maybe do like do an odd number at the front and maybe one on each side, and then an odd number at the back. They always say that if you do patterns in odd numbers, it looks better. So I quite agree with that, actually. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'd appreciate that very much. And I did put a link in the description box for the mitts. So if you want to go ahead and make the mitts, check out that link and click on it, and you'll find it quite quickly and quite easily. Okay, so happy knitting, my friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.